Hello everybody! This week I was looking at LinkedIn and I found this post by Christoph Pranks who said, hey, I built a damn vulnerable restaurant, an API project filled with vulnerabilities, and I figured why don't we have a look at it together. So they have some really funny AI art here of the damn vulnerable restaurant. So I set up the GitHub project for myself and I have it running right here. I also have it hooked up to Burpsuit so that I see the calls in Burpsuit, and I have not looked at it at all, so this will be the first look for me. And well, we'll try to solve this damn vulnerable restaurant together. So first things first, I see a lot of API endpoints in Swagger here, and in Swagger we can actually try these API endpoints and execute them, and then we actually also get the responses back normally. We can go double check in burp, for example, the health check endpoint just returns okay, true. So the first thing that I do when I have a lot of API endpoints is I just browse through the documentation. So we apparently have some menus that we can look at. So get menu, put menu, delete menu item, put a new menu item. We have some orders apparently that we can make in this restaurant, which makes sense, you know, we can read the menu, we can look at orders. We also have authentication. Authentication will obviously be interesting. We can get our profile, change our profile, we can post a token, we can register for a new account, so we'll probably need to do that. We can reset the password, and then there's also an admin endpoint, /admin/stats/disk, and a user's endpoint. First thing I'm going to check is, can we do that admin endpoint without being authenticated? And it looks like no, we have an error, unauthorized. So as expected, of course. Can we perform this call without being authenticated? No, 401 unauthorized. Maybe we should just start by actually registering for a new account. So let's try this request out. So my username will be pink. My password will be the password that I use for every website, pink. I will leave phone number as string. My first name is pink, and then my last name is draconian. If I execute that call, then let's go back to burp because I prefer looking at it in burp. Then we see that we created this new user with the username pink and the password pink. So I assume that now we can also log in to that account. Is there a get token? That is probably the login functionality. So let's see. Oh boy, this is OAuth. Okay, so that is OAuth. So this grant type is password, that's fine. Our username is pink. Our password is pink. Let's leave the scope empty. Let's leave the client ID and secret ID to string. Let's just see what happens here. Oh, we actually get a token back. So in this case, this OAuth, I guess, is not set up correctly and allows the string, just the string as a client ID or client secret, which is convenient for us. Great. So we see that here, we see that we have an access token. We also see that it's marked as red, and that's because I'm using the JSON web token Burpsuit plugin, which shows me that this is HS256, so potentially brute forceable, and that the payload contains my username, and that's kind of how this JWT token will authenticate you, I suppose. Okay, so with that access token, we can take that and put that into Burpsuit. So, oh, we could also, I guess, authenticate here. Oh, yeah. Let's just do it here and press authorize. That doesn't seem to work. That is slightly annoying. Maybe that's because we need something. No. What are the requests that this is making? So this is also making requests. Oh, but it's setting it as, it's sending the credentials as the authorization header in the request body. Still unauthorized. Now it is sending the client ID and client secret here. but it expects, yes, that looks good. Is it because the scope is missing? Let's see, and scope, oh, and scope equals an empty string. Incorrect username. Oh, I had my caps lock enabled. Are you kidding me? Oh boy, that's a rookie mistake. Wow. Okay, but we are in. We are logged in as the pink user. So now we can make a call to our profile and see that we are a pink user with the username pink, and our role is customer apparently. Okay, so our role is customer. That's good to see. Now that we are logged in, can we now make calls to the admin endpoint? It still says forbidden, and it says only the chef is authorized to get the current disk stats. So I guess chef is another role. We have an endpoint to update a role, so maybe there's an access control issue here that would allow us to become a chef. So for the username pink, I'm gonna try to set my role to chef, which says only chef is authorized to add the chef role. Only chef is authorized to add the chef role. So we cannot do that unless we are the chef. We can reset our password for a specific username. So potentially, if we get the username of a chef, then we can potentially do something. When registering a user, we can maybe try to send this again, but this time with the role set to chef. That's something that might work. Let's try that out. That phone number needs to be different. It seems like it succeeded, but the role is still customer, so that didn't help us there. Okay. We can make changes to our profile, it seems. So if we get our profile, then we get this data where the role is set to customer. And if we then update our profile, perhaps we can change our role to be chef. So I'll execute that. And I see that that returned a 200 OK. But our role is still customer. So that was also not it. We can patch our profile to add additional properties. So maybe here we can actually, well, let's try to set role equal to, let's start with the profile that we already have. There we go. And what I'm trying to do here is to maybe see if we can set our role here, of course, but also in these additional properties, perhaps we can set our role there. So set our role to chef there, perhaps that works. I'll execute this. And we see that we have a 200 OK with our role being chef. Very interesting. Okay, that is cool. Is that actually true? Can we execute this endpoint and see that our role is chef indeed? So I guess this is an access control issue where on the put call, they check that they don't override the role, but in the patch call, they don't have this additional check, and we can actually set our role to be chef, which is awesome because that means that now we'll be able to make this call to admin stats disk. Yes, we are able to do that. That is great. Okay, so now we get some output there. And this output, this is the output of a Linux command. I'm not sure which command actually, maybe df or dh. I always mess them up. But seeing output that comes from a Linux call makes me immediately think of OS command injection, for example. So there's also some parameters that we can add. If I add the parameter test, then the output is nothing. So that is interesting. I am gonna So I want to see if burp suite can find the vulnerability here. So I am gonna scan the selected entry point, do scan that item. I'm gonna configure the scan so that it is thorough and it minimizes false negatives, because I want to make sure that we don't miss any vulnerabilities. And then we'll scan it like that. No, I hope that this is not going to break anything. But now we can also manually continue testing this test parameter. So first things first, what is actually needed in this request? I assume that all of those headers are not needed. Yes, I assume that all of these are also not needed, and that the request pretty much only requires this. Perfect. Let's see what happens if we input some stuff here. So that doesn't do anything. Leaving parameters empty gives that command as a result. I am going to take this command and just paste it in ChatGPT and ask what command created this output. Just to make sure that I know what command is. It's df indeed. So df with the -h flag, it says. What other flags does df have? And we'll figure out what else we can do here. So we have -h with a capital that we can try. So let's try -h with a capital. Did that change anything? Nope. The exact same amount of bytes, just different usage there. Did burp suite already find something? Nope, nothing of interest. So dash capital H doesn't work. ChatGPT also said -a. Oh, and this returns a lot more bytes. So what we are doing is, the command that it's running in the backend is df that something and then with our input. So if we do, can we do this, but then URL encoded, which is 26, followed by a space, followed by who am I? That returns output, so at least it didn't error. Of course, we're not going to see the output, but let's do a sleep 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the response at some point, yes. Okay, so clearly at this point we have a command injection. Awesome. So I am actually wondering if the burp scanner is going to find it. It definitely should find it, right? There's no reason for it not to, because it's very obvious. But let's see if it does. We're then also... Okay, so now that we have a OS command injection, we can try to exfiltrate data. I'm going to use Collaborator for that. So let's try to simply get any callback from Collaborator. We'd get nothing back, so curl is maybe not available on the machine. wget might be available. Also don't get anything back. In the meantime, I see my target has lit up red. That means that indeed the burp suite scanner has identified the OS command injection. Let's see how it did it. So it did an echo, and the response, the response actually outputted the information. Oh, so that means that we can actually also, we don't need to go blind here, and we can actually get the information directly in our terminal, which is great. That makes it easier for us. So let's take this, see if we can replicate it. One thing that I don't like about this is that we are, it's not easy to work in this URL parameter like this. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to use the Hackverter extension. There we go, we enable that. And now I can do extensions, Hackverter, and then smart decode. My apologies. So extensions, Hackverter, and then smart decode. And now it kind of decodes it for us, and we can work here in normal text and it will automatically URL encode it. So if we send this, then we see that we get our output here. Which one is it though? If we just send one of the echoes, does that do it? Yes, that does it. So now we can just replace echo with who am I? We are app right now. Okay, that is great to see. So if we are app right now, can we then get a reverse shell? For that, I'm going to use the ref shells website, of course, to what is my IP address? ifconfig. My IP address for the Docker is this one. Oh, it was already there because I was working with Docker containers earlier, and then we have port 4444. So we are gonna rl rep netget-lnvp on port 44444, run that, and now we just need to find some way of getting this reverse shell. The one that I like the most is using Python, so I'm gonna check if Python is installed here. Not normal Python, not Python 3 either. Okay, so that's not installed. Let's then just see if the normal bash ones work. So with the normal bash one, we would do this and not get anything back. So that didn't seem to work. Is there anything else? So Python is not on there. I think Node should be on there, right? Netget possibly. Oh, if Netget's on there, that would help us a lot, I guess. So with Netget, can you do like netget -v? No destination. Is that error? netget-h. Yeah, netget-h output something, so we can do netget-h and see no output at all. Let's see if that netget is not on there, so this will also fail. We can try this one, I guess. I don't like the new lines, but I'm curious. I'm just gonna oh, but this is if we are executing in Node.js. Yes. Let's try something else. So netget is not on there. We can figure something out with bash. Nothing. Curl allows. I did not know that curl. That would be cool if that worked. No, it did not. Maybe we should. Oh, curl is probably also not installed, right? Because this is a Docker container, and with Docker containers, you get fairly little tools installed. Okay, curl is not installed on there. OpenSSL, I did not know that OpenSSL could do reverse shells. OpenSSL also does not seem to be installed, so this is a very, very limited system. Is Node installed? Also not installed, or does node-v just not? Okay, no, that should return something. I wonder what kind of backend this is. UVcorn? Isn't UVcorn supposed to be Python? Or am I fully wrong in saying that? So the server is UVcorn. Well, let's ask ChatGPT, I guess. ChatGPT always knows better than I do. So let's ask if the server response header is UVcorn, then what is the server running? Python? yeah, so it should be a Python application. So Python-v, oh, Python-v might, Python-version, yes, that's what I need. Let's see, Python-version. Oh my god, yes, okay, Python was there all along. I just made a slight mistake earlier. Good to know. I knew there was something off with that Python command, but sadly I couldn't place it. So let's try using Python, not Python 3, and immediately we get our shell back, of course. Well, hey, that was dumb of me, I guess, but it is totally fine. Alright, so now that we have a Python shell, I think the goal is to get root, and the first thing I always run is sudo-l, because that's the easiest escalation path. And sudo-l, pretty much what it does is you have a file where sudoers can add commands that specific users are allowed to run. And in this case, it says the user app is allowed to run the following commands as root without entering the password, and that is user bin find. So we are allowed to just run user bin find as root with sudo. We can probably escalate if I go to get the fuck out bins. There we go. And then we search for find, and then we have sudo. If we can sudo find, then we can easily just exec bin sh like that. And just like that, we are root on this machine. That was pretty cool. I'm gonna look at how fast that was, but I think that was pretty fast. 20 minutes, just about 20 minutes to get root here on this damn vulnerable restaurant. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. I am curious to see if this was all intended. I suppose it was. But that was awesome. Let's pull the LinkedIn back up. So Christoph, thanks a lot for making that. It was an awesome project. I loved playing around with it and discovering some vulnerabilities. There were not too many vulnerabilities, so I'd love to see a version of this that's maybe even more built out, and there's much more vulnerabilities that you can exploit. Because in this case it was, we were able to register for an account, we were able to exploit an access control issue to add a role to our account. Through that we could get an OS command injection, and then from there it was some privilege escalation. Okay, awesome. So if you're watching this still, then I would like to thank you all a lot for watching. Comment down below if you reached this point and if you enjoyed this video, and I would hope to see you back for another one. Take care, everyone.